50,000 American soldiers across the Middle East are now legitimate targets. These are the words of an Iranian commander on television in the last couple of days in response to the US bombings of Iran's nuclear facilities. Israel has successfully pulled the US into the conflict, which is what Iran feared the most, as you probably know from my previous analysis videos, as this opens up huge risk for the Iranian state. Fighting a great power, you see, is not good for one's health. But did Israel pull the US in? Did it really? You see, there is evidence. You won't hear this in the legacy media or mainstream media, as they call it, but there is evidence, there's growing evidence that Trump may try to keep the US out of the war still. But muffles, that makes no sense. They just directly attacked Iran. How can they possibly keep out of the war? Now hear me out. Hear me out. I've brought receipts. Not from here. I'm just itching my anyway. Trump sends in B-2s with their bunker busters. But how many casualties were there? 0 confirmed casualties. Was Iran's nuclear program clearly and undeniably wiped out? Absolutely not, if you believe Iran and Russia and the Atomic Energy Agency and reporting news outlets across the globe. If you believe them, reports suggest only entrances and exits to sites were destroyed. Certainly not the entire nuclear capability or capacity of the state of Iran. So, this is what America's game plan might be. Not sure why I said it like that. This is what America's game plan might be, which Israel is terrified of. America launched this attack, and now Trump can wipe his hands of the matter and say, I did my part, AIPAC, I did my part. That's hundreds of millions worth I just deployed and dropped over Iran. Don't you dare say I did not help you. But I definitely don't want further action. My base, my opposition, the American public, all of them are screaming at me, don't you dare take us to war, Trump. And I want to be remembered as the president, first of all, as the best president in existence, right? Since the founding fathers, I'm the best, number 45, number 47 for the win, right? First, I want that. But also, I want to be remembered as the president that stopped all the wars, not started the biggest one in American history against the Persian giant, right? And for that reason, I'm out, right? Israel may have thought, yes, I got the US in, right? They're in the conflict with me now. But here's how Iran could play this so that their adversary, Israel, is handed a defeat, snatched from the jaws of victory. Iran could do nothing, or very little. They could not escalate against the US, but instead continue hitting Israel. And the results of this may be that the US goes dark once again. One and done, they say. I'm gone now, Trump might say. This would leave Israel furious at the United States and terrified of Iran. Because if you've searched up images of Tel Aviv, the cultural and historic capital of Israel, as far back as history goes, a few decades. If you look up images of Tel Aviv, of Haifa, it's not looking good, guys. I don't know what kind of interceptions they've got, but missiles they've got left. It doesn't look like they're intercepting enough. If they are intercepting the majority, well, they're not intercepting enough, right? Look at the images. They don't look good for Israel. Southern Israel also just lost power today, right? The entire southern half of the nation, as their grid failed due to missile and drone strikes disrupting critical infrastructure. Key military targets in Israel have been hit, especially in the capital, right? You heard of, strikes in Beirut. You heard of strikes in Tehran, but this is the Uno reverse card by the Persian Lion, yeah? Have some strikes on Tel Aviv. And Israel's struggling to contain it. The Israeli Air Force is panicking, it would appear from my analysis, and they have, in response, expanded their targets, specifically to prisons, to release criminals that Iran holds, I suppose. While the world holds its breath, I make this forecast for you guys. I don't think Iran will hit US bases. There's a lot of flurry, there's a lot of running around, there's a lot of panicked Arabs or people in the Arab states thinking, am I going to be hit by Iran because, collateral now, because there's US bases in this country. I don't think Iran's going to hit the bases. They will exercise further strategic restraint in an effort to keep the US out of the fight. It's technically already in the fight, but if it doesn't get further involved and Iran stops itself from fighting back to drag the US in further, Israel might be in a tough situation, right? Again, Israel thought that this would ramp up pressure. on Iran to respond, because America just attacked it directly. But if they somehow still manage strategic restraint while balancing out by attacking Israel directly in escalatory attacks, so that their state, the opposition in Iran, the population of Iran are placated, think, okay, fine, yeah, it makes sense not to attack the US to, further entice them to come further into the conflict. If Iran at a state level can manage that, master stroke, it might be a geostrategic master stroke that has Israel High Command tearing its hair out, a US dragging its heels, and Iran not punching back and falling for the bait, the trap that they set, which is the US has just attacked you, and Israeli cities are ablaze and pounded by a state far more lethal in capability than anything Israel has faced in decades. And the nail in the coffin, to summarize this and bring this post to a close, the nail in the coffin for Israel is Iran just used a terrifying new domestically produced missile, right? Israel claims to have air superiority over the country, over the capital, while Iran's still lobbing missiles at you, and they just they just deployed a extremely powerful one, not deployed in the last 11 days. Iran has just deployed this and has got Israeli officials extremely worried about the safety of their entire state. On the next episode, I'll reveal the details of the dreaded Khaybar Shekan, or the ghost missile, God, that can outrun all layers of Israeli missile defense. It zigzags through the atmosphere as it comes back down. It's very hard to predict where it's going to be, so you can't intercept it easily. Fail for Israel again. Iran's just deployed this and is it's definitely one to talk about, one to know about, one to learn about. For the unbiased news and analysis without the Western spin, I'm Mahfuz, and I'll see you on the next one.